All right, everyone. Thanks for watching this episode of Wong Chat, where I talk with my friends and guests from different industry. And tonight, we have D1. And again, this show is live on Twitch, so we're doing this currently Tuesday to Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Of course, you can watch this on youtube.com/modernwongphoto, as well as find me on Twitter, Instagram, and also other social media platforms. I do also have some bonus content on Patreon as well. If that's something you're interested in, feel free. But no pressure. As I said, tonight I have D1. I have met D1. I don't even know when I met him or how I met him. But ever since I met him, I keep seeing him like everywhere I go, like literally nonstop. It could be a random Friday night. I'll be out at a bar and then like, oh, it's D1. And I bet he can say the same for me. We have a little inside joke about that happens all the time too. He's big in the fighting game community. He's just commentating. He is Twitch streaming right now. But let me start off by congratulating him for hitting a 1K sub on Twitch. So that is a big accomplishment. So D1, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for having me, of course. I just wanted to say, dude, like, it's been crazy.
It has been crazy.
Yeah, just seeing how things have changed for the boy. Like, I used to work at Twitch for 5 years. Twitch was, I loved working with the team there, but I really, really, really loved just content creation, and to make the big jump into that and to see an overwhelming amount of support from fellow members of the community that have been around when I was already streaming back then. And cool to see just, the overwhelming support from everybody, even during the times of COVID, right? Where my plan, I was going to do content creation, but at the same time, I also wanted to focus on doing a lot of shows, right? Like, remember, we see each other everywhere. So
everywhere.
so you probably would have seen me at a convention, at a tournament, something like that. And I was hoping to do a lot of shows. Then once COVID hit, I was like, well, time to marathon stream. And I never took a day off since COVID hit. I just kept streaming every single day. And
I've been more busy since COVID hit too. Everyone's just like, "Oh, Martin, you have more free time now." It's like, no, I am actually even more busy than before. So
yeah, dude, it's crazy, right? People would think that now that you're stuck indoors, that you wouldn't have, you'd probably wouldn't have as much time to do things, but you do have a lot more time. You'd be more busy, or you wouldn't be as busy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like it's pretty extreme. I am definitely become more busy because, all our events has canceled. I've been doing events for the last like over 10 years. So that's usually my circus. Before this, I was supposed to go to a convention every other week. So now with that cancel and change, I have to be like, oh, cool. Yeah, I guess we're not doing that anymore. So I need to find new ways for both work and entertainment. So everything.
Yeah, man. By the way, apologies. Spectrum internet is weird.
Just Spectrum sucks so badly. Yeah,
that's probably why it looks so pixelated. I was like, I have one idea, but anyway, if you don't mind, I could like do a little hop in and out for like one frame, and I might be able to find a remedy. That's if you're down.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
I was like, you hooray! All right, we did it. Okay, we're good. Let's go back.
Making sure
we're back.
Yeah. Dude,
Or
you look amazing right now.
right,
That
that's
is.
kind of crazy, dude. I was like, what the hell? Like,
Is there a secret switch that you know? Do you just call the Spectrum CEO and say, "Hey, I need some bandwidth"?
I was like, I need backup, and they came through in the clutch, dude. I'm lucky. It's funny because people were saying like, Walgreens probably has better internet, and they might be right. They might be right, dude. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
sheesh, what a
Right
trip.
now it sucks. Like one of my friends, Stella Chu, I think after 5 p.m. for her, her internet just completely just useless, like really useless, and she's streaming. Right. Normally she stream like 1 to 5. She has to because after 5 p.m. her upload is less than 1 MB. Last time she posted 0.08. Yeah.
That's really bad. That's really that's really bad internet, dude. Like I have the opposite. It's totally the inverse for me.
Uh huh.
I don't think I can stream earlier than the evening times. If I do
Mm-hmm.
afternoon, if I do morning, because of the whole situation that we're dealing with, the pandemic, I already live with two other streamers, and to have
Mm-hmm.
Spectrum and like three streamers in the same house, all just like killing the internet, dude. There is no way, dude. There are even times where they won't be streaming on a weekend, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
stream on a weekend, and we still have shitty situations with the internet.
Like
So,
with the pandemic, everyone needs internet. Like
mhm.
everybody, but they still just, and the problem is that it's very like a gang kind of style where they're like, oh, this turf is mine, then that's you only get Spectrum or AT&T, and other area you only get certain internet because they
Yeah.
lobby it that way. So it's just not enough competition. That's the problem. Like I'm from Hong Kong, our internet is amazing. Like
What?
it's ridiculously fast and it's really cheap too. Like people will beg you to sign up for the internet. It could be like $40 a month, and then we were talking about like gigabytes internet already. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
paying as much as I'm paying the highest level that I have right now, and I have another streamer in the house too. And this is, it's second highest. The next highest that they have to like take the house apart and install cable or something, but it's not my house, so I don't know about that. But we already
What the?
paying the highest as we can. We were paying the business plan already, so
Mhm.
it's
Jeez.
funny because I met one of the people that work at Spectrum. He's pretty high up there, I think. At
Oh, hello. Send me their information. What the heck?
right at that was it? What event it was? It was in the LA Convention Center. Was it E3? No. Was it this year? It's either last year E3 or some other industry event. And then he told me, and then he instantly said, I say, oh yeah, he said he worked for Spectrum. I say, oh, I use Spectrum, and then he instantly go, oh, I'm so sorry. He knows. He knows.
He knows, dude. He knows.
He knows. Yeah. So is a well known phenomenon, and he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, dude. God dang it, dude. Yeah. That's just how it is. I remember when I started dealing with a lot of crappy internet situations because I know there are gonna be times where there might be like some surprise Nintendo Direct out of nowhere, and everybody who's part of like the Nintendo streaming community, they are always excited to see to stream their reactions to
Mm-hmm,
something that they don't know is about to happen, but they know it's going to be hype. So they're like,
mm-hmm,
oh my God, guys, we heard 6 a.m. Nintendo said, be ready Thursday, 6 a.m. PST, there's going to be a stream. Everybody's awake. And when you have crappy internet, that just puts a damper. Because I remember one time I tried to do a Nintendo Direct reaction where I looked at the Animal Crossing Direct out of a hotel room, and the hotel had crappy internet. I asked for premium; they didn't even have premium. Which, to me, they're lying probably, but they didn't give me premium internet, and I was like, "I'll pay." In any event,
mm-hmm.
I streamed it. When I looked at the VOD, it was so choppy, and I felt really bad for my editor because he tried to salvage it too. He really
Yeah, it's
did,
tough.
and he was like, "D1, I did so much to try to fix this. I just think we're just gonna pull the plug on this one." So yeah,
Do you know Roger?
Roger's base.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hello. Yes, Roger. He when I used to live in the Sky House, Roger the first time I actually got a chance to really hang and meet him, he came in to the Sky House and just started randomly singing music. I think it was because like it was like Shofu and Roger and a bunch of other people, and I just remembered here, I will show you the world, and I'm like, what the heck is this Disney kid doing here? But Roger, yeah, good vibes, dude. I love that guy.
Yeah, he was on the show a few weeks ago, and he said the
Mhm.
same thing, about the Nintendo Direct stuff. Because
Yeah,
I heard that they give you pretty last minute notice. Like it's
yeah,
not like a week or 2 weeks or a month. It's more like, yeah, hey, by the way, 2 days. In 2 days we're gonna have a one. It's like, wait, what? Yeah,
yep.
like it feels like out of nowhere all the time.
Yeah, being a Nintendo fan is kind of rough because we always feel like there's some kind of a disconnect with that company.
I think it's also
In the
Japanese.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
right. So
it's a very
and
different culture.
there you go. You hit the nail on the head, right? They're so stuck in their ways. Whereas
Hmm.
if it's America, they will recognize the trends and they'll try to adapt. Japan, they're traditional in many different, or customer in many different things that
Hmm.
they do, and they will stick to that
Yep.
until the old people that oversee these companies like pass the mantle down to a younger
Hmm.
person, because the younger generation, they're more willing to accept many different things, such as
Yep.
esports, which was a thing that in Japan, when you talk about esports in Japan, certain companies are like esports, gambling, and
Hmm.
Nintendo is
Hmm.
one of those companies that, unfortunately,
Very
isn't there.
conservative, very traditional.
Very,
Like,
very. And because of that, we have so many amazing Smash Pros who could be like Double Lift and all these other big time League of Legends personalities who are getting
hmm.
like, cake. We have Fortnite that came in out of nowhere, and we got like
Oh yeah.
Booga who won a tournament, super young guy, and overnight celebrity. Boom. Just winning
Yep.
these, 7-digit number tournaments with crazy pie,
And then on
seven
top
digit
that
prize pool.
sponsorship and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I tried to work with Nintendo before too, and also other Japanese company. But as you said, like I feel bad for the American side because like Nintendo America, because their hands are tied. They have
Yeah.
to follow suit with what they're doing over there in Japan. So they just have to be like, okay, cool, we'll try our best, but we cannot change the way they do things until, as you say, maybe the next generation come on in.
You're 100% right about that. Like Nintendo of America, whenever I speak to them, they always give me hope that things can change. But they always have to answer to the motherland, right? And
Hmm.
you have to wait. If they approve, then you get to see cool things happen. I'm happy Nintendo Versus is a thing that's super cool that happened. And because of that, I think Nintendo is slowly but surely moving in the right direction. They're trying. It's
Hmm.
I just don't, I understand how the hardcore fans of competitive gaming feel, and they want to see them go full blown in comparison to all the other companies that already understand how esports is. But one of the things that makes me not get so salty or angry is because as a devout Nintendo fan of many years, before I joined the competitive scene, I've understood that they're always keen on innovation, always trying to stand out, do things differently. If
Hmm.
you just look at their systems, right?
Oh, their
We
systems
had
always, yeah.
a perfect example, Nintendo 64, and the other side, PS1. These guys are
Hmm.
using disc format, right?
Hmm.
Whereas Nintendo, we're still going to use cartridges. And then finally, with GameCube, they use discs, but optical discs, but it's like barely any space, 1.5
The
gigabytes. I
smaller
think
one.
it's like
Yep.
really small. I can't remember
Hmm.
the capacity, but it was definitely small.
Yeah.
And whereas like you'd look at the other systems and they had way more space on the
Hmm.
discs, even though like
Like when we talk about PS2 versus GameCube era, well,
yeah,
PS2 can even do double layer
yeah,
DVD, so that could be 9.8 gigabytes. And I think
yeah,
the small one, the 3.5 millimeter disc that GameCube used, I think it's like 3.5 gig or
if it
1.8 gig.
1.8, okay,
I think it's
optical disc.
1.8.
And I don't think they had double layered discs
They
until
don't,
they
not for
released
those ones.
Brawl for Wii.
Yeah, not for, yeah,
Wii,
exactly. No, because Brawl is a DVD. That's the difference. The small one, the 3.5 millimeter DVD doesn't have that. They're cool, but they don't have that. But here's the thing though. Nintendo is not that much about graphic. It's always more about the experience and also the innovation. Like they have, of course, it's like a mix of two, right? You have the evergreen, which is Zelda, Mario, all those games that just always gonna be around forever.
Of course, the first party classics. Yeah.
Yep. But I really like how they deal with their console or their hardware, because Nintendo 64, as you say, controller is interesting. The Wii is such innovative. I feel that they have paved the road for many gaming industry, console like PlayStation and Xbox. I mean, PlayStation and Xbox, the controller looks pretty much the same in the last 20 years.
Every single time. You rarely ever feel like they reiterated on that, like find a way to or iterate. I think just basically show us something that makes you feel like, oh, this is so different, and these guys are actually trying to innovate. They're still pushing the bar. Whenever I see their controllers, like you said, always the same. All you hear are just new specs. It basically sounds like a computer, right? But
it's just an upgrade, but it's not innovation.
Yeah, but then when you see Nintendo, they started introducing like motion control, and the moment they did that with their games, you start seeing Sony decided, oh, you know what? With PS4, you guys can actually, shake the controller a little bit. And
giant ball.
Yeah, right. You got a little gyroscope in there or whatever, and all of a sudden it could track what's going on and like things like that. I will give props to Sony trying to bring VR back. I don't know if it's actually going to stick. I know with the PSVR, I bought it, and the only thing I played was Resident Evil 7.
That's scary. That game I saw clips of it. Playing VR in that game is,
I played on hard mode, dude. I screamed.
If I play the game, I'm sure my neighbor would think there's a murder happening every night.
That probably me too, because I should have probably shared a clip with you. I was playing Resident Evil 7. I didn't even start the game yet. I just walked over to an area where they had a bunch of crows, and I was playing VR. I had a friend who was next to me reading the chat, and it just felt like I was so immersed in the world.
Oh, yeah.
As I walk towards a corner, I hear just birds flying, right? And as the birds, like just a bunch of blackbirds flying into the sky, ravens, I screamed because I didn't know what the hell was happening. I was like, it was just so amazing, They did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
To see Resident Evil come back in such a strong fashion, Not so much I don't know about 3, but Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 7, et cetera. So
I'm pretty sure if I play it, and I play every night, my neighbor would think a murder happening, and also to the point, it's like, can someone just kill him? Like, can we just get this over with so he can stop screaming every single night?
That would suck if your neighbor would want you to. You never left a good impression on them. They probably think, well, if you have friends, do you have friends over the party? Because how neighbors get mad when you have.
No, my house is good. We're great.
Okay, because like for my house, sometimes we host parties, and we have a neighbor that's 2 houses down from us. So because sometimes we have parties on the weekends, we'll literally have like all the parking spots taken. Funny part is, sorry if I curse.
No worries.
Part is there are driveways, so if you live there, you don't have to worry about all these parking spots getting taken unless you're a piece of dirt that just doesn't want the neighborhood to get too busy. So whenever we have parties, we'll have like this old man. He'll sit on his porch and he'll just look at everybody. And sometimes he'll walk up to my like guests and tap on their windows and try to scare them. And they'll be like, who the hell is this random old guy trying to harass us? So I'm happy that you don't have to. It sounds like you have good news. They want to kill me.
Yeah, it's one of those get off my lawn kind of situation, but not his lawn. It's a public parking space.
Exactly. Pretty weird.
I mean, you're gonna have one of those in every neighborhood anyway. Just depends if they live close to you or not. And unluckily, sounds like they're a little bit closer to you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, just like you said, right? If everything is too perfect, that might be a little scary. And might be for a rude awakening. So, yeah.
I mean, we are currently having that situation where we're getting curbed, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, things were going great, and suddenly pandemic, and then everyone's like, okay, oh, something's it's not right. Like it's completely changed to see how it's like. But do you think that we're gonna change? I mean, you've been in the gaming industry for a while. I actually want to know how is your view on this, and especially with the FGC, because most of the events, tournaments has to be live at a certain place. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna guess Evo is not happening this year yet. I mean, they haven't canceled it
I
yet, right?
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think there's an official cancellation, but a lot of us are seeing the writing on the wall with the fact that there are events that are unfortunately being announced as potentially canceled, or we see events in like near the end of May getting chopped, and E3 is not a thing, right? So
Yep,
Evo is the first weekend in August. That's pretty darn close.
it is. I
Summer
mean, Comic Con got canceled.
AX got canceled, right?
Yep,
So
AX Comic Con, all those big ones.
those are pretty close to Evo. So I think the Evo is waiting because Vegas is a little weird. We heard that the mayor of Vegas was actually interested in trying to get people to start opening up their casinos. So
Yep.
that's a weird situation. Like I've even heard of like Texas. There are parts of Texas where people are like, we don't care about the lives of the people. We more care about, the economy. Like we don't care about living. We care about bringing the economy back. And I'm like, oh man, that's trash. So
I
I
mean,
safe to the best of our ability, because as long as we can actually flatten the curve, it would be good. And if they do allow evil to happen and everybody goes and everybody somehow comes back with some crazy disease, it'll be scary. Because the funny thing, Martin, is
mm,
that if COVID were there or not, people, whenever they go to cons, whenever they go to big tournaments or just large gatherings, right? Whatever you want to name them,
hmm
big places where big groups of people gather. Um, w- Whenever people return home after a weekend of being at a convention or a tournament or some kind of event, they
hmm
do something inevitably. There's a lot of hugging, a lot of shaking of hands. People are in close quarters. That you could be in a concert, you could be in an after party. A lot of
hmm
germs do spread since we're in such close quarters. Inevitably, people will get sick. And I think the worst thing is if people will overreact and go crazy and think they have COVID when it might just not be. So, for everyone's safety, it's probably best for them to avoid the big summer events, even though they dearly miss hanging out with their homies. I think just for safety, even if we do get released from lockdown, that
hmm
probably change. They are probably going to have more of an OCD towards germs, towards being amongst large groups of people, and for good reason. For good
Okay,
reason,
yeah,
right?
of course, of course. I mean, people dying would not be ideal. I mean, I would rather to be alive than to be like, oh yeah, you're alive. Like, that's fine. How about the economy? I mean, I care about both, to be honest. Like, three things, and I mentioned this on the last few streams, is that you could be care for the economy. You could also care about people's lives, but also care if the government is having too much power. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's all three. And things keep changing, So we kind of have to keep a perspective to see how things progress. Then we can be like, okay, now we have new information. Then we can make new decision. Until then, yeah, flatten the curve. Like the longer it lasts is actually better because it means that we're flattening it out, meaning we're slowly, gradually getting out of it. But if anytime it's like one of those video games, right? If you rush too quickly and you die, you have to start back from the beginning. And that's
Absolutely.
the problem. Yeah. I mean, Singapore is I heard that Singapore is hitting a second wave right now.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah. So,
And I heard when China got released, they still like had aftershocks too.
oh, definitely.
So yeah, we might just deal with the same thing where the asymptomatic carriers are finally like exposing other people,
hmm
unbeknownst to them, to the disease, right? Like they'll probably think, "Oh, you're not exhibiting any symptoms. I'm totally safe. Let's share a drink." We've seen that
hmm
happen so many times, right? Where at a lot of these places, sometimes
hmm
people like to imbibe, and there might be like, people of age who
hmm
will like just like share from the same bottle. They'll drink water from the same bottle, whatever. And then out of nowhere, you catch something. Like it just happens. You'll be like, "Oh, I trust you, whatever. You don't have anything crazy." And then all of a sudden, I'm done. It's like insert name of convention, and then you just put like pox at the end, like
Yep. Mm-hmm.
or pax, flu, or etc. So
Complex. Like
yeah,
I'm a special case. Like I go to conventions every other week before this all happening. So I have a very high immunity. So I get to be
same.
like, yeah, I get to be like, okay, I can share a drink ish and still be okay because I that's what I do. It's my routine. Like I said, going to events. So my immunity is kind of, build up. But most people who go to conventions less than 5 times a year, mostly they will get sick right after going to conventions.
A
Yeah.
lot of events that I attend, I'm the same as you. I'll go to a bunch of
Yep.
tournaments. I'll come back home and I'll be totally fine. I think only one time, for the first time in a very long time, I caught a weird cough that persisted for quite a bit. I don't know if it was bronchitis or whatever, but
Mm.
like it was scary. Every time I streamed, if I laughed at jokes, I would start coughing, and it got a lot of people worried. But thankfully, I'm finally over it. I'm back to being able to like eat and not like worry about coughing while at the dinner table, or streaming and coughing in the middle of the stream, or even casting. Like I had a cast, I had an opportunity at Genesis 7, really big Super Smash Brothers event, and they had tons of viewers watching. And while it was happening, I had to keep hitting the cough button to not let people hear me cough while
Mm.
these really important finals matches are happening. I'm like talking. Oh fuck, a cough is coming. Mute, and then I would have to mute myself, and then I come back and I'm watching the videos, and the people are like, "Man, I love these casters," and I'm like, "Man, these guys don't even know I was actually dying the
Die.
entire time, dude." Oh my god.
Like I usually when I go to events, I would bring a
Yeah.
big bag of this just to pass it out because I know people are dying.
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
some cough drops. So
Yeah, dude, I usually bring emergency. Emergency is like the wave whenever I come out to these things. Like if I feel a
I haven't
teeny
tried it.
little,
Yeah.
really just take a shot of emergency and I'll feel good. Sometimes I bring Mucinex too as
Mm.
well on flights, and the
If I
Ricola.
ever if I ever feel like I get a cold, if I just take a cold medicine, then it's just more preventative and it actually works.
Yeah, yeah.
I think my worst case scenario was New York Comic Con last year. And when I say worst case, it's just me lost my voice for 2 days and I started drinking and it went away.
Oh
That's
my
how
god.
good my immune system was. But I'm kind of worried too because COVID-19, I can't tell if I already got it because there was few days that my throat was kind of itchy,
Yeah.
but that's it. But because of my high immune system, I might have already gotten it. It's just I got to kill it so fast. So I have a small symptom, but that's it. But it could be just a common cold. So again, I don't know. I want to get tested so I can be like, know for sure I have the antibodies. I'll be like, I'm free to walk around now. Or at least you're like, oh, I haven't got it yet. So stay home, be safe, and don't die.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at what you were saying, I think what I was going through, it was a really, really bad coughing spell, but I never quite experienced the whole loss of smell or taste. Did you experience that?
No. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not, yeah, my housemate did. One of them.
Mhm.
Like, so my house, I live with 3 other housemates. And that's why I'm guessing we could have all got it because one of them was perpetually sick. And he always had this. He got like sick like 3 times in the last 3 months, so it never stopped it. It just keep going. And then the other one feels like he was getting some symptoms from it, like getting some fever. So he locked himself in the room for a few days.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. And the other one is, as you said, lost her taste and her smell. So then that's one of the symptoms. So we're like, we don't know. Yep.
Damn, that's scary, dude. Well,
But we're all fine now. So
that's
none of us were
godlike. Okay.
coughing. So yeah. Kenson lives with me, right?
Oh, damn, dude. Dude, that guy's the goat, dude. Absolutely amazing animator. I have to
Oh,
say.
amazing stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But someone mentioned one thing I fear as well is that if some of the events, if they skip a year, they might not come back because they are planning always year to year, and one gap could have thrown them off really crazily, like especially financially.
Financially, yep, exactly. To suffer a big financial loss during one year might set them back for the next one, and it could just result in a pretty bland 2021 for some people. But I think that it would also give rise to a lot of digital events. We've seen
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people now are trying to do things of the sort where DJs are doing a bunch of
Mm.
digital events. We have like when it comes to fighting game community, you're talking about how are we affected, right? All of a sudden, tournament organizers who realize that, hey, I can't host my tournament. Let me try to still keep the community active in a fun way, right? Let's toss in a couple of these online events where we know online isn't the best indicator of who is the best when it comes to
Uh-huh.
fighting games, because usually fighting games are just laden with bad net code. But
Mm-hmm.
in any event, we
See,
still
that's
hold
what I
the
wanted
event
to know. Yeah,
online.
like that's I was wondering too, and I wanted to ask you because if events can happen, are they still allowed? Do they still want to do tournaments online? Is it going to be a technical issue, latency issue, or would there be like a cheating issue? Like, how is that like?
So, looking at the Super Smash Brothers community, the moment they started introducing a bunch of Wi-Fi is what we call it. Even if people have to use Ethernet cable, in Smash, we always say online. We call online events Wi-Fi events, and the reason we call it that is, uh, I guess, ever since Brawl. If ever you went online, it was referred to as people just referred to it as Wi-Fi, and if people came from the online scene for
Mm-hmm.
Smash, we always call them Wi-Fi warriors. But regardless of that, we have a bunch of events that have been happening online, and the cool thing about this is that people still have been trying to like hire casters and give them like compensation for appearing on stream and casting for X amount of hours at a time. People are putting
Mm-hmm.
together invitationals. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be doing an invitational with my good friend Kotaro on his broadcast. It's going to be pretty awesome. It's an opportunity for people to see some of the like eight Smash players that people pretty like that they like a lot go do
Mm-hmm.
battle against each other in an invitational format online. So we're trying to do fun things for people
Yeah.
to look forward to, but it's still never gonna truly replace the offline tournaments. And because of this, we had to suspend the ranking system, right? We had a Smash tour that the community came up with this year, and the moment the pandemic hit, we had to suspend that.
Dang.
And we also had to suspend the Panda Global rankings, so that if there were any events that happened during COVID, they would not count toward the actual ranking, because we know that people are barred from traveling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even internationally. So because of that, we probably wouldn't want to penalize people that aren't able to attend events if somehow people were still trying to hold live events. And thankfully, we're just doing online. So as far as
Mm-hmm.
online is concerned, the only thing that has really been getting any kind of drama are situations where people have to play another person, then they realize that that there's that lag is present when they
Mm-hmm.
play, and the common thing that smashers have been saying is lag test. If they're playing somebody, right, they
Mm-hmm.
would hop into the match, and within the first couple of minutes, seconds of the match, they would ask for a lag test because things feel a little weird. Tournament organizer would go and test to see if there's any lag present between the players, and if there is, then the player ends up getting disqualified. And
Mm-hmm.
there was actually an instance of a player by the name of Cosmos, who is pretty well known. He's like the best Inkling player in Smash Brothers Ultimate, and
Mm-hmm.
he came under fire from the community because there was a situation where he was playing somebody, he felt like there was lag, and then both players showed the tournament organizer their like internet speed. They went to speedtest.net, showed the results, and
Mm-hmm.
after seeing the results and trying to see if a match could still start, player was saying he still felt lag. And after that, like the tournament organizer went and just disqualified the player, and it started a big like drama
Oh.
because they were like, well, it looked like his numbers were right. Like I think that this player who called for a lag test is cheating and trying to get other people disqualified and yada yada. And we had another issue where there was a player from Florida by the name of Goblin, one of the strongest Roy players in Ultimate. He was
Mm-hmm.
playing a player called Meister, best game and watch in the world in Ultimate. Meister versus Goblin. It went down to the last game. And the last game, he called for a lag test, which
Mm-hmm.
created some crazy drama and led to the player not being able to advance in the tournament because of lag being present when he's from Mexico. Meister's from Mexico. So the
Mm-hmm.
internet that he has in Mexico is not up to par.
Mm-hmm.
Like the player from Florida's internet goblin. So it resulted in Meister not being able to advance, and there was some drama.
That
Like
sucks.
he was like, you know what? From this day forward, like I don't know if I have respect for X player, and then that started a whole bunch of drama because he plays a character named Game & Watch, and Game & Watch is a character
Yeah.
that some people have issues with. They feel like the character is cheesy. So because of that, to see a player, it's kind of like Hungrybox, right? Hungrybox plays
Hmm.
Jigglypuff. The character has like multiple jumps, has a move in the air that's like a disjointed kick that reaches so far. So it feels
Hmm.
like it's really hard to hit the character. And when you finally hit her,
Hitbox difference.
her yeah, it's just so hard to combo the character in comparison to other characters in the game. So yeah, as far as like Meister is concerned, he dealt with drama, and Cosmos dealt with drama. Like it was a lot of like interesting scenarios where people think other people are
Hmm.
tests with no integrity. Like they think they're just calling for a lag test to get a person disqualified because they think, oh,
So yeah, that's the thing. Is it like an aggressive move? Like, do people find it like, oh, you call a lag test, like, oh, you try to start a fight, like not the game fight, but like, no, are you having a problem? More personal than it actually like, no, I don't know if the internet's not working.
yeah. Like I think for the most part that these players have the right. Like I actually feel like no one's trying to be malicious here. It's just an unfortunate situation where you're playing online and you know that these matches matter. There's money on the line with this too. So
Hmm.
you feel like there's potential lag and you're not able to actually play your best, you're going to call for a tournament organizer because you think that somebody may be benefiting off of the fact that there's lag present in the match.
Hmm. And technically, if someone wanted to, they can purposely slow their internet or something to get a different result. It's kind of like even online gaming like Fortnite. If you set it to the lowest graphic, it's possible you can see more because there's less stuff that's showing up. Have you heard that before?
That's crazy. I didn't know about that at all. I'm not a,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to do the Fortnite dances, but
I've
like
seen that before, where someone's hiding in the grass, right? But once you turn these graphic settings all the way low, you can see them because the grass are not that prominent. They can't show those graphics. So,
dang. So because of that, does that mean wait, so if they play at lower graphics,
hmm there's less detail, so less graphics showing up. So therefore
for
you can
everybody
see.
else playing them?
No, it's for you, so you
For
can
you.
snipe better. Yeah.
Yeah. I got it. That's
So
crazy.
it's not technically cheating, but it's just like that's a weird game mechanic situation. So so that's why offline tournaments are important because everyone are playing at the same standard level and setting, supposedly.
I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of LAN. Like I think LAN obviously presents a great opportunity for people to play their best, but it's unfortunate that with the pandemic,
Mhm.
people are not going to be 6 feet apart when it comes to that kind of thing. They're definitely going to be within close quarters, and there's a risk.
Mhm.
So I don't think anybody should actually like put themselves at risk and get sick and then get their family sick. So
What if you start an underground fight club?
so the first rule to not even talk about Fight Club, no way. I feel like if you go underground and start one, it's still risky because you still have the asymptomatics, man. You know what I'm saying?
How about you
Can't
like set up a place where it's two disinfected box, it's connected, of course, using cable, but it's two different box. You can still stream it live, and then the player can show up. They can enter in two different doors. Yeah,
hazmat suits.
hazmat suit. Yeah, I mean, it's doable. I mean, we're not allowed to go to bars anymore, so I'm expecting Speakeasy to have a comeback. We were in the roaring 20s.
Speaking, oh my god, yeah. I mean, the Great Depression is among us, dude. What the heck?
It's just a repeat. Yeah.
Dude, jeez, you're so right about that. Yeah, I would love to have something like that. Speakeasy type underground, events. No more than 10 people, right? It's just like, sorry
That'd be
guys,
awesome. Yeah.
you can only
Invitation only.
invitation only events, dude. That'll be crazy. It'll like so when it comes to our events like fighting games, it's usually open, not like LCS where they have the set group of teams that a
Hmm.
roster that will fight every week. When
Hmm.
it comes to Smash, you'll have thousands of people littering convention floor, just having a ball. Everyone's on top of each other, watching their favorite player play or cheering on their buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I, I I can't wait to see that happen again, but I'd probably be more comfortable if it happened in the third quarter.
Yeah. Wait. So did you start out as a commentator or did you start out as player first, like a competitor? You started competitive first, right?
Absolutely. That was so I saw footage for to go all the way back.
Yeah. Give me all the way back. Bring me back.
Going back to the times of Soul Calibur. I had a close friend that I used to play many different fighting games with, like Naruto Gekko Ninja Taisen series and all sorts of other games. He really took a liking to Soul Calibur, and I
Mhm.
did. Link was in it, and we were both like Nintendo fiends. He also was a Sony fan, and it took me a while to care about Sony games until later. But we both got Soul Calibur, and we became rivals in Soul Calibur. Then, when I realized how he was beating my behind in Soul Calibur, I was like, I have to find a way to understand how to beat him. So I went on Google. I was like, I heard Google answers everything. So I went on Google to see if I could find like how to beat my friend's Link. And I came across the Calibur forum. And the Calibur forum gave me an opportunity to understand all the minute, all the little details
Mhm.
the character that I played, like how fast my moves come out, how laggy are they after they come out, which moves are safe to use to use as pokes, as baits, which moves should you stray away from committing to because you leave yourself wide open. Like some of the things that I probably wouldn't be able to tell with my naked eye, being able to have all the frame data all the way down to the numbers right there in front of
Mm.
me allowed me to figure out how to properly punish my opponent when he played Link. And once I figured that out, I went and played him. He was like, "Wow, you got so much better." And I was like, "Dude, all I did was just memorize numbers and then did the math and figure out what's the right move to use in each scenario." And it worked. So that's the kind of player I am. I love being able to just like study the numbers, crunch the numbers, memorize, put it into
Very
practice.
analytic.
Yeah, that stuff helps so much. So from there, we played a lot of Soul Calibur. We've gone to conventions together and played Soul Calibur 2 whenever there'd be kiosks. And then once I entered my very first tournament in 2004 for Soul Calibur in New Jersey, I got mopped, but it was quite the experience to see like my first round opponent. His name was X SC2. He's like one of the best IV players.
You
He
still
was
remember?
that literally won the tournament. So, because I was fresh meat, came into the
Mhm.
tournament, of course, last seed, right? Whereas everybody else was pretty practiced. So they set me up against the best guy in the house. And when I played him, he had a girl hanging off of his shoulder while he's beating me up with his arcade stick. I was like, why does this feel so anime right now? Like, the girl was just like hanging out, like talking to him, and he's just beating me. And I'm like, God dang, this is so embarrassing. But you know what? At the end of the day, it was still cool to get the experience. And then in losers bracket, I lost to somebody who played this, who has a training partner that plays the same character as me, and I know that guy anyway. So like, I'm playing him, and I'm like, dang it, you know how to play my character back and forth. And I just got into the competitive scene recently, so a lot of
Mhm.
the stuff I try to use, he already saw it coming. So I just went 0-2 immediately, but it was fun. Like they were really welcoming. But I lived in New York, so I wanted to go to stuff that was nearby.
Mhm.
So I tried to find Soul Calibur events that were nearby, but instead I came across Melee event that was nearby, and I was like there was footage of MLG Super Smash Brothers events in on the Soul Calibur forums, and I kept watching. I saw like people like Ken the Marth, Captain Jack the Sheik, Isaiah the Falcon, etc., etc. And I'm like, whoa, these guys are pretty dope. It looks like they're playing a faster version of Smash Brothers. I never knew the game moved that fast. I thought they were glitching or whatever. So I digging more to figure out to learn more about the game, and I joined Smash boards and I studied the game. And Fox was my favorite character there because I love the Star Fox series. So I picked Fox, and I tried to see if I can like inculcate everything that I learned there before the first tournament. Because the
Mm.
tournament I went to for Soul Calibur was December 2004. The next tournament for Smash was going to be February 2005. So I wanted to learn as much as possible within those small amount of that small
Like
window of
2 months
time.
period.
Yeah, right. just to get a chance to see how I would do. So I went there, and I also got smacked there, but it was super fun. Still, I still got a chance to meet a lot of people, and I was happier with that loss. I felt more confident, like moving forward, I can probably improve from there. So once we skip a few, going into 2006 and 2007, I actually got ranked in my region, which made me really happy. I was like top 10 in New York City, where before I used to get mopped up really bad. I started seeing myself actually get better and better as I kept playing. And then Brawl came around, and I also was reviewed as one of the top 10 in Brawl too for New York City in my game. And then 2009, I started to fall out of love with the game because in comparison to Melee, when I played Brawl, I saw a stark contrast in balance. Like Meta Knight was just clearly
Oh
leagues.
yeah.
It was just so good. And I've never played a game where I just felt like this character is literally better than everybody. Like he's actually the best. And it was to the point where I was getting sad because I didn't like the character that much. So I didn't want to play the character. I just wanted to find a way to beat him, but it just did not feel as fun. Kind of similar to how people felt when playing Bayonetta in Smash 4. So
It's a
because
handicap, yeah.
yeah, so it just felt like they didn't want to play Smash 4 anymore. I totally understand where they're coming from because Meta Knight did that to me back then in Brawl and made me not want to compete anymore. So I pivoted to becoming a tournament organizer along with a commentator.
Mm.
And I never thought I was like that good at it. I just thought I knew about stuff so I could regurgitate information with my own enthusiasm, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like we like that. We like the fact that you're so invested in this that you know about this and you toss your own personality in there. We want to see you more on the microphone. And I was like, you guys are weird. I'm literally just a normal guy, just like all these people in the community. But if you actually want me to keep doing it, I guess I'll keep doing it. And from there, I just kept getting a bunch of opportunities to keep commentating to the point where being a tournament organizer took a backseat, and I became more of an on-camera personality, which led
Mm-hmm.
to me wanting to take more responsibility in refining that craft. So I started learning from all the other greats in other esports games in order
Mm-hmm.
to understand how to become a better speaker. And yeah, I have to say, yeah, it was quite the journey, and I got to meet a lot of great people like Monte Cristo, Gigi Doa, Paul Red Eye Chalonaire, Ultra David, Seth Killian, like Yipes. There's so many legendary commentators out there from many different games all over. Tasteless, Artosis, like all those guys, they all got to help me refine my craft to help me become my own kind of caster in my own special way. And yeah, I have to say it's been dope because a lot of great opportunities came from it to the point where I was confident enough to leave the corporate life at Twitch and just focus on a coming back to form with
Mm.
this with this talent, right? I think if this is a thing that people think I'm legit good at, why stagnate the growth of it by having multiple responsibilities and instead just go all in, put all your chips on the table and
Yep,
see
yep, yep.
action.
That's how I talk to lots of people who ask me the same thing too. It's like, hey Martin, how can I decide to be a full-time content creator, photographer, influencer, cosplay, whatever it is that you do? And I always say is that if that so-called side gig or hobby, whatever you have, is taking so much responsibility that it's affecting your day job or whatever your current main one was, then maybe it's time to make that jump. People also worry, when do I make that jump? And once you start working for yourself, it's such a rewarding experience because everything that you do is for yourself. And as I always say this too, doing this is not an easy way out. It's much more work. You worked at Twitch before, you worked at a desk job. 9 to 5, it's not bad. Like you go to work, you go home, you're done. You can just relax and play games, and you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. That was great. But when it comes to so the good thing is that good and bad thing, because I feel like as a self-made, not self-made, but like content creator, kind of like self-business kind of thing. Everything I do is my doing. So if I'm successful, because I did good job at it. If I fail, because I didn't do good enough. It's very self-responsible kind of thing. Yeah. So
Right.
yeah. Okay, I actually have a question for you earlier, and there's so many questions I was thinking in between too. Oh, one quick
Sure.
one. In the
Okay.
Smash now, since now we're in the online world, do they balance character once like the game is out or the character is released? Like, do they update them and change it a little bit?
For which game in
Smash.
particular are we asking?
We're talking about like Brawl
Ultimate?
or Ultimate. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, so the question is if whether or not they actually like patch the game.
Yeah, do they patch it and balance it like differently? Like, for example, you say like for example melee or like Sprawl. I think on Wii, like you can't really patch the game. Internet wasn't really as prominence. You know, people play at home, and then if the game is broken, it's like great. You know, Meta Knight's gonna be owning everyone because it's better than every single stat. It's just annoying. But now everything has to go through internet.
Yeah.
Are they able to patch it to make it more balanced, like League and stuff like that?
Yeah, so with Ultimate in comparison to different games, like different the prior Smash games, right? I'd say Smash 4 did get balance changes. But Ultimate, they've done a way better job when it came to patching. Like there was definitely a moment in Smash 4's lifespan where they had a really good patch that made a lot of characters more viable, but there were certain characters that they missed the mark on, especially Bayonetta, probably because of the fact that they might have just stopped committing to the game and decided, well, we're already working on a new Smash game, whatever. But looking at Ultimate, I think Ultimate's in a really good spot to the point where sometimes people will find a hard time to find a main because so many characters are good, and some people feel um, like because of the balancing, it might be difficult for them to even like find like I've actually heard some people find it hard to exhibit excitement with regards to certain characters because they think so many characters are good. But in my opinion, I still think there's a lot to be excited about with regard to the game. There's a lot of characters that are untouched that people can invest more time in and flesh them more out. For now, yeah, they have been definitely adding patches. Characters that might have been a little bit too strong aren't as strong, but I have yet to see patched where characters that were like, I guess the only characters when it came to the game that got like a patch that made them not look like they were as top tier as they were before is like Pichu and Olimar. Pichu and Olimar, they were characters that people were arguing were clear cut top 5. Now it looks like they're not quite top 5, but they could still be really good characters in their own right. You know, like there were some changes that were added to some of the characters that made them feel more normalized, more fair.
So
Overall,
nerf them a little bit.
yeah, I think the game is in a pretty good spot. It's still really fun for me to watch. There's still a lot of creativity when it comes to like some of the stuff that the players are putting together as far as approaches, combos, edge guards. Maybe in the beginning, a lot of combos at first looked really bland, but that's because it's the first year. Like, calm down, give us some time to, go into the lab and figure some things out. I was so surprised when people were like, "Man, it just feels like in this game you blah blah blah, and you just spam this thing, and then you yield this thing, and you just cookie cutter combos." And I'm like, that's funny how people are saying that in the beginning, but now I'm watching tournaments and people are finding optimized follow-ups and setups and all sorts of traps in comparison to last year. So things are definitely looking good, even if the patches are coming. And I'm happy that they were healthy patches that don't completely gut a character. If anything, I've been seeing certain characters who were trash got better. So yeah, if anything, the only character that I felt like got a patch that I wasn't in full agreement with was like King K. Rool. But I'm happy now that the recent patches that the character got make it seem a little better. But it was weird that they did a patch on the character in the beginning based off of online feedback.
I feel like online feedback, if it is valid, like more statistical based or like more instead of like a people feeling, that's kind of I don't want to have that mob mentality to like, oh yeah, I guess we'll submit because people want it a certain way rather than because it's actually unbalanced. That would be annoying. Another question I have for you is that let's say, because you're saying you start doing more commentating stuff, and you're also not just doing commentating on Smash and other games. I remember you were saying, when we saw you a few months ago, you were saying you're commentating other games as well. How long do you usually have to do your homework, like for games that you're not too familiar?
There are times where I have to learn it literally the next day or the same day. Um, like with Nintendo, I've had times where they wouldn't let me know what I'm going to be doing in advance until like the week of, and then I would fly in. Then I would have to actually like learn the game right then and there. Like when it came to Smash 4 Wii U, I
Mm.
flew in with Frog, Scar, and a whole bunch of other players. And on Monday, we got a chance to try out the game. Then the next day, we were up on stage, cast in front of like a big audience, hyping them up about the game. So we had to do our homework like right then and there immediately. And after realizing that, I remember when it came to like an ARMS invitational that Nintendo hit me up about way in advance for E3, I asked nicely if I could just get a copy of the game so before release so that I can actually be able to study the game because I'm gonna like I want to be able to, this is not Smash where, if it's Smash, regardless of whatever new iteration of Smash it is, I feel like
You have some background of it, yeah.
yeah, I have a firm background, right? So we can do some comparing and contrasting to the previous game, and we can just like understand what things are going on. But with ARMS, that's totally brand new. So
Yeah.
I asked them if they could give me a chance to understand that game. Same with like Pokemon Company. When Pokemon Company brought me on to cast Pokken Tournament for the first time, they heard me talk about the game on social media. They're like, "Hey, we heard you were pretty interested in this. Would you be interested in casting this game? We saw your resume. We've seen what you've done in the past, and you fit the bill." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm totally down." And they flew me out, myself and Mark Man from the Tekken scene.
Hmm.
We got a chance to like try out the game one day in advance. We saw Justin Wong and like a whole bunch of other FGC pros that were there, and they were like trying the game Rip. If you know Rip from Tekken, it was great. Like we had a bunch of friends from the Tekken scene that were there, Street Fighter, etc. Tasty Steve was there too.
Hmm.
Tasty Steve is such a character. Yeah, it was great. We had such an amazing time. It was a bonding moment for us. But as far as like how long do I have before I have to actually understand these games and cast them? Sometimes you have to learn a day in advance. Sometimes you have to learn right then and there, the morning of, and then you get tossed into the lion's den. So, yeah.
Is it tricky that sometimes you have to figure out things to say that you're like, I'm not too sure, but like I still have to keep talking and
Yeah, they're like, we know you could do improv. Best of luck. So, but usually, thankfully, due to the fact that most of these companies are insistent on doing run of shows, I'd have to say at least a day in advance. Because the day in advance, you get a chance to play the game. Then they do the walkthrough. They show you where you have to go on stage, what seat you have to sit in, mic test 1 2 1 2. All that needs to be done a day in advance. So
Mhm.
at least a day for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not that great when it comes to video games, so that would. I mean, I'm very good at improv. I'm very good at like ad libs, like on the spot. I can do stage work, not a problem.
Yeah.
But when you tell me commentating games, like, oh man, I would be so confused. I'm like, yes, he's hitting him. I think with an item.
He's like, all right, it looks like he got the opening. Yeah, dude. With just so many years, just playing fighting games, no matter what the rules may be for that game, if you get the basic fundamentals, you can translate that into commentary like super easy. That just comes with years of practice, right? And hearing
Hmm.
all the jargon that we repeat over and over when it comes to commentary. Like, think of like boxing, right? You see a person,
Hmm.
they offer a strike, like a swing, and then they miss. So then you whiff punish them because basically, if you go for a swing and you miss, you basically whiffed your attack, right? So
Hmm.
a whiff punish basically means that a person is punishing the whiff from their opponent, the missed attack from their opponent. So you'll hear little things like that, so on and so forth. You'll talk about the spacing, sizing up the opponent, just like all sorts of different things. Of course, when you first start a game, you can't really know if a combo is optimal, but you do know if a combo is the type that carries the opponent to the corner, which can set up for a pressure scenario, so on and so forth, right? So
juggling and all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, those little things they come in handy. But yeah, I love fighting games, and I love the people that come from them too, because I've been exposed to so many different communities, and there's just like a fire, like a fire, a passion that that has like no filter in
Hmm.
comparison to many of the other scenes that I've been to. Well, fighting games, it's just, and it's cool to see when it comes to fighting games that there's clearly a support of just like pushing for a lot of variety or just representation. A
Hmm.
perfect example, something like an Evo. You'll see all the casters that get hired for an Evo, and it's a rainbow. It's just a wide array of people, all different sizes, colors, shapes, yeah, shapes, sizes, etc.
Form.
Basically,
Yeah.
trying to say that it's a variety of people, right? So it's cool to see all types of representation whenever it comes to the talent and the people that are playing, and to
Hmm.
see like cool storylines of like, we had a person who came from, if I'm not mistaken, it was Pakistan or Saudi
Uh-huh.
Arabia, just like from the Middle East, to see a player come from there actually be a badass Tekken player. Like, that's cool, right? It's like,
Hmm.
we never get to see it from there, and then you actually get to see things like that. So I like getting a chance to see representation from all around the world, and not just to focus on one particular type. Like, sometimes people complain about when it comes to other scenes. And one of the reasons why I mentioned this is
Hmm.
because there are times where people from other communities can be toxic when they see different people, right? They'll be like,
Hmm.
oh, this is different. And then they toss in whatever kind of word they use to, talk about those kind of people who are different. But when it comes to fighting games, we're so used to seeing different kinds of people, and we're always in intimate settings, which is another thing that I like about it, because we go to events and we're sitting side by side. We
Hmm.
prioritize having offline events more so than online, and because of that, we're always exposed to all different kinds of people. We don't freak out when we see different kinds of people. We accept everyone's differences and realize that everyone's a human at
And
the
I
end of
feel
the
like if you talk Smash, you throw down, then let's play. Like
yeah,
you win, then okay, you got some legitimacy to you.
yeah.
If you can't beat me, then you know what? Good luck, champ. The thing is, like, I have a question too. Like, when it comes to you saying, like, all these people, different race, different like size, different background, all this stuff. But what about games? Are there like more hierarchy when it comes to games? Like, is a Smash player more desirable than a DBZ fighting game person, Fighter Z, or like, oh, you play Tekken, you're not a Smash player, you're just a Tekken player. Is that a thing? Like, is there like a weird hierarchy of like, oh, you play this game, you're more higher up there than the other?
I've definitely noticed um at times where there are people who will dog on others for playing a different game, and they'll try to say like, oh, if you're a Smash player, you don't know how to do complex inputs, like, half circles or shoryukens,
Mm.
or, like Terry came out, right, for Smash Brothers, and when Terry came out from the Fatal Fury series, and King of Fighters, people were like, "Oh, Smash players probably don't even know how to do all the inputs for his super and things like that." And a lot of times, you'll sometimes hear people from fighting games say, "Oh, if you're a Smash player, you probably don't know how to play real fighting games." And I understand where they come from with that, because a lot of times Smash players will usually just play Smash and games like Smash. There
Hmm.
are times where you'll see Smash players go into other fighting games like the Street Fighters, the Dragon Ball Fighters, etc. But a lot of time there is not as much crossover, and because of that, the people from the FGC sometimes, they'll like throw little jabs at the Smash Brothers community for that. Whereas when it comes to the fighting game community, you'll see a lot of people just hop around to different games. You'll sometimes see people that play Blaze Blue or Guilty Gear hop into Street Fighter or Marvel, or sometimes even Tekken or Soul Calibur. So like when it comes to those games, like you'll see people just hop all over the place, and they'll show respect to people who play the games that they play. But then like you'll sometimes see that weird gap where it's like, oh, if you play like Smash Brothers, though, it's like, you're totally different. Oh, you're playing kids game. Like the real way to play it is with items. Like you guys are trying to force a competitive game out of a game that's supposed to be fun. So like we've had those weird weird interactions, and they still happen to this day, where they're like, Smash is not a fighting game. So As far as Smash and other fighting games concerned, yeah. But when it comes to all the other fighting games that I mentioned, like the 3D fighting games like Soul Calibur Tekken, the Capcom fighting games like Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, etc., and even just like the anime fighting games like Uniclear, and Grand Blue Fantasy versus etc. Then even like the versus games like Marvel versus Capcom and so on and so forth, Dragon Ball Fighters. Those games, you see people, they'll celebrate each other's fighting game. Usually
Hmm.
more, I think, just to not make it look like I'm painting a bad picture of the entire fighting game community, the more well known and more well respected fighting game fans like the Justin Wongs, the Mike Rosses, the Gutex, like K Brads and so on and so forth, like all the well known people, Yipes, James Chen, Seth Killian, all of them, they will recognize other fighting games, even if it's like a Smash fighting game, and they respect it. They respect everybody's hustle, the time that they put in. But it's more so the trolls that have the veil of anonymity. They're behind their monitor. Nobody knows who they are. They just have a username that they can probably change and an IP address that they can do just the same with. So they'll just throw all the vitriol, the toxicity at people and not care. They'll just be like, yeah, whatever. Your game's not a real fighting game. This, that, and the third. And sometimes, Martin, even when it comes to the other fighting games that you're speaking of within FGC, there sometimes might be times where people will try to dog on the quote unquote, real fighting games or the more orthodox fighting games, right? Like it's been a recent trend to dog on Street Fighter 5, whereas Street Fighter 4 was amazing. Street Fighter
Hmm.
5, people just feel like, wasn't that good. So now because of that, people are like trying to like crap on it nowadays. And they're like, yeah, if you want to play real fighting games, play anime fighting games because they take more execution or blah, blah, blah. So sometimes you'll see that, but it's not like, I don't think it's so prevalent to the point where people have to make a video or an article about it. It's just something that it's something that small pockets or groups of people will say just because they might have an inferiority complex and they want to feel better because their life is already such crap.
And you always have those people who are the loudest because they are, doesn't mean they're right, but they also have lots of free time. So you have all lots of trolls, a lot of haters who just want to make a scene. And then, that kind of reminded me of a movie I watched yesterday. It's the Daniel Radcliffe movie, the Gun Akibo or something like that. It was where have you saw that? Like where he like got guns like nailed to his hand and they have to go shoot someone. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's very
Sounds
not
like
like
I'm down.
Gun Akimbo. Yeah, there you go. Someone in chat mentioned that, but yeah. So he was a troll. That's what he was. He's like hiding behind like anonymous and like just like smack talking everybody, and then he like, oh, he got a taste of being put in the game. So that's a little bit different.
Yeah, true. I need to check that out, dude. Now that you mentioned it, though, so I can come
It's a
back
fun
to you.
movie. I think I enjoyed it. It's fun. I mean, it's one of those movies that you can't put really logic into it. It's one of those like, all right, I'll just suspense and disbelief for a while because normal world that's not gonna work too well.
Yeah.
Um, I do have one last question for you too.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't want to
for
keep it
sure.
for too long though. But where do you see FGC gonna be? Also, like, how old would you consider the industry as a whole, like for fighting game stuff? Because I see esport in general still kind of in its teenage years. Like it's not infancy anymore. We have bigger structures. There's money involved. There's sponsors. There's like, like ESPN actually have like a esport channel stuff. It's getting bigger and bigger. So it's kind of like a teenager kind of teenage years. But is FGC like close around that line, or you think it's still very infancy, or like where are we at, and what is gonna be the next stage?
I mean, I feel like as far as Smash is concerned, we're a self-sustaining community that does their best to continue to find ways to reiterate no matter what, even if that means without the backing of the IP holders. Um, but if we ever were to have a chance where like Nintendo were to step in and actually like support in a big way to the point where a lot of us who've been dedicated to the community for such a long time can actually like be able to have the same kind of jobs within the company, just like I guess seeing like let's think of like a Riot Dash, right? And all those other guys when it comes to Riot. Like they're just like
Mm.
staple talent that will always get opportunities within Riot to do like casting gigs. And when it comes to like production teams, they will always be reached out to do the production. The tournament organizers will always be reached out to host a certain events. Like it'd be cool if there's opportunities for those people who have like put in blood, sweat, and tears to have an actual like steady gig as opposed to just like straight up freelance,
Hmm.
something where even the players invested would beat 3 to 5,000 plus people in a bracket and leave with way more than just like 4 digits, and
Mm.
something like that. Like these guys, they go to war when they go to these events, and it's an endurance test. It's 3 days of straight up battles, and sometimes they won't make more than $10,000, and that's like sus. So I think it would be really cool to just see opportunities for a lot of these guys who invest so much in Smash to get more out of it, instead of just
Mm.
like a small select group of people, right? Because like, of course, there's some people who are doing pretty well, but we want to be able to widen that gap. We want everybody to be able to eat.
So,
And
so this is interesting then, because like a lot of other games that has tournaments, like as you said, League with Riot, or like Epic Games that do Fortnite, they're backed by the company. So
yeah,
then, is it? Do you think it's better that the companies are doing it, or is it going to be more control? But also, the second question is, how are you guys doing it right now with Smash if Nintendo is not like greenlighting it? Is it like kind of like a nobody talk about it kind of thing, where it's like we don't talk about it, we don't have a situation, kind of policy, or how does that work?
so Nintendo is just like super duper hands off. They understand that the community exists, as they've brought on members of the community to be part of like cool promotions for future games and stuff. They're like, hey, we're going to do like a cool opportunity where we get to showcase this game, and we'll give you players free hotel, free ticket to go to E3 and compete and win something dope and get a chance to meet like the maker of the game and play the game, et cetera, et cetera. When it comes to our community, they've stated many times that they're trying to be more hands off with regard to
Is it better?
uh, how things are done with the community. I think for one that can be a good thing, because a lot of us already figured out ways to do things in the scene, and
Mm.
if they got super heavy-handed and things took a turn for the worse, it probably would leave a salty taste in the mouths of many. So we've had times where they've endorsed events, and because of that, there've been like contracts where certain things aren't able to be done on broadcasts, and because of that, people were like, man, I wonder if this is like a sign of what would happen if they actually were more controlled, when it came to the tournaments.
Hmm.
Only time can tell, right? So as far as like the fighting game scene is concerned, the rest of the fighting game scene, those guys are doing pretty well. We see Arc System Works, they're putting together like numerous tours for their games. Bandai Namco had like a Dragon Ball Z World Tour, Dragon Ball Fighters World Tour. They have
Hmm.
like World Tour for Soul Calibur, World Tour for Tekken. Capcom has a World Tour for Street Fighter. So
Hmm.
those guys, they're all good. They're all eating their, I'm seeing my boys like weekend in and out. They're getting like all their stuff paid by the company, like comped flights, comped hotels by the company. Not so much like when it comes to Smash. Like these tournament organizers will have a budget, and they'll raise money, and then after they raise money, they will allocate funds towards getting talent, getting teams to help with running the event, production, all that stuff, right? Volunteers, like there's a whole
Mm.
bunch of stuff, and then even paying for the venue. If like one of the trade-offs that I'll be happy for is to see people who run these events that go through so much work to have to host these events leave actually positive instead of barely breaking even, you know?
Mm.
So it's like some of these tournament organizers, they'll work their tail off and they'll have to pay everybody off for their work, and then they probably can't even come back with much to even show for all the work that they've done that weekend.
I mean,
So
people, as far as I know, that is everyone I have met in the FGC, people are very passionate. Passionate.
yeah,
They love it, and they enjoy it, and they could always like, and that I feel like make them more appreciative of each other too.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and I
I mean,
like that a
mhm,
lot.
mhm. Yeah, I was just gonna say when it comes to that, It's because of the fact that back then, when we played, there was never any discussion about money, clout, whatever being popular. All people did was they liked a game, they wanted to be good at the game, and they realized there were other people better than them, and they felt challenged. So they're like, "No, I'm better. Or if I'm not better now, I want to be better than you, so I could beat you down." And it would form like actual, authentic, genuine rivalries. And you'd see
Hmm.
people who are also fans of the game. They would see certain people, these personalities clash, and they're like talking mess to each other. They would beat each other, and they're like, "What now?" And the crowd would pop off. It would be like a schoolyard brawl, or like a cafeteria fight, right? Where you just see
Hmm.
kids running on the table. Oh crap! Jim and Bim, they're going at it again. And I think it was so cool to just see that raw passion from all those players. Nobody cared about money. Like the money was only used to like put a quarter in like that arcade machine for a person to go get next. And I think like in this current age where a lot of people are trying to get signed to teams and all that stuff and get sponsors, sometimes that can be lost in translation with the new generation. And some people might feel that also that things are just so weird and more corporate, that they think the old way, the old passion that people used to have is not there anymore. Now people are literally just playing for money and not so much because they like the game. So
Mm.
it's interesting.
I think I see the same crossover in the cosplay world. When we first started doing cosplay, there's no fame, no money, none of that. We just did it because we really enjoy, what we love. Like for me, it was photography. I came in, how I got started, if you don't mind me telling you, but yeah, I got started is a high school friend of mine was like, "Hey, Martin, you do photos, right?" And I'm like, "Yes," and that was when I was in college, and she remembered I was like a editor, the photo editor for the school newspaper, and I did a lot of photography stuff since at a very young age. So she was like, "Hey, how you like to come to Fandom, and then you can take picture of me in cosplay." And I'm like, "Cos what? Like, what is that?" I had no idea. So I went to my first cosplay event, which was Fandom, so that's always my home con now. Except it's not going on this year. Very sad. But now, yeah. But now I'm like, ever since that day, I have been nonstop. And to the point that I think my friend who asked me to go, they don't really go to convention anymore, but I still keep going for nonstop for the so many years in the last decade. So yeah, at first, and I luckily, people like my work, and I keep shooting. I keep, love what I do, and that luckily got me a following because of that. But again, in the beginning, it was not for money, not for fame. There was no Instagram, there was no money involved, so we just very loved it, and then now we still do. But again, because now there's more money now, then you get a lot of people coming in doing it for a different reason or doing it for different kind of and they see it differently too, and it's harder because to me, I feel like they're not building the same. I'm not saying love, but like it's just different because I feel like they're lacking a little bit personality, mostly because like they don't know who they are. They saw what people did and they want to be like them, but they don't know who they are to get to that. And
Yeah. Hearing you say this, it just reminds me of times where I may know people who are too focused on the numbers,
mhm,
whereas a person like me, sometimes I might have a good day and where the numbers are great. Sometimes I might have a bad day where the numbers aren't so great, but I always try to not focus too much on that, and instead I'm just like, all right, what did you do wrong here? What could be improved on? Let's not dwell on whatever happened in the past. Like, if anything, look at this as an opportunity to improve.
mm,
If things aren't looking so good right now, maybe that's because people know you can challenge yourself and make yourself better. And don't just be upset that you're not getting the instant gratification because you saw somebody else who was a great success story at the time back then, where it's like, oh, I know this person, I was inspired by them, I want to do this too. They do it, they realize they're not being immediately successful, they're upset. And it's like, don't be inspired by them because of the fact that they were successful and made money in that field. Look at how they go about being successful, being willing to fail, right, and
mhm.
learn, and to like internalize whatever it is that they might have learned from their failures. Like you can't just look at the end result of whatever a person has and then you get inspired. You want to more so see the journey, whatever they've gone through, and learn from that, and understand that sometimes things can go awry, and you have to be able to pick yourself up and
Hmm.
keep going because everyone's journey is different, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
For people like us too, and that's why I wanted to start this podcast. Many people just got started. They always thought that, oh, we came in and we got this out of nowhere and just straight into like magically. But no, we have failed a lot. Maybe not you. I don't know. I personally have failed a
No,
lot.
I failed too, man. I think it would be a lie. We
Yeah.
would literally be lying to everybody if we were to act like everything always goes perfect and according to plan.
Yeah, no, like exactly. So, but they're all great learning experience. So for everyone that who are just starting out, like I would say, at least get started. If you don't start, you'll never get to where you want to be. And I feel like a lot of us feel the same ways too. We always think, man, I wish we started earlier. But but that is the mindset that means we have been doing it. So I guess my biggest advice for most people who want to get into the creative space, content creation, or whatever, is just do it. Like this lighting, this mic, everything was horrible when I first started the show. If you watched the first episode, oh man, that was a huge learning curve compared to photography. But after a few weeks, this is week 11 now, and I think I'm getting better. I'm still improving, but I'm getting better and better.
Yeah, dude. I'm happy to hear it, right? That's what everybody should also understand. Like you again, it's a journey and you will continue to get better and better. Find where you are lacking and take note of that. See whatever it is that you need to get better at and work towards that. Make it a goal. Write it down. I realized that one of the things that actually helped me get things done is to go in a Google Doc, write it down, go in a Google Calendar, put the time down. I mean, even when it came to this interview, right? I was like, "Can you
Yeah.
please give me a Google Calendar invite?" And then you're like, "Sure," and I was like, "Awesome!" And the
But
moment I
even if you didn't ask me, that's how I've been doing it too. Because like we have all different schedule. I don't want to assume people have to remember things because I kind of forgetful sometimes because there's so many different things going on. So I was gonna make a calendar invite regardless, just to send it over so you know when, and also you know exactly what it is. So hopefully that was pretty clear and nice to have a reminder. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. And I got that from Twitch too. Twitch taught me a lot of amazing business practices where it's like, okay, you'd like to have an interview with me or like a conversation with me, let's set up a Google Calendar invite. And if I'm having a text conversation with somebody and I'm trying to explain something and you're not
Hmm.
quite explaining it, you're not quite getting it, then let's
Hmm.
hop on a call real quick so I can let you know exactly what I meant. And it probably might be better that they hear your voice so they understand that if you're giving anybody feedback, that it's coming from a good place and you're not upset or anything like that.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of times where there are a lot of great things that I've taken from Twitch that yeah, I found it really invaluable. And if
I
anybody gets a chance to work there, please take the chance.
this is two things, right? I keep tangenting, but a lot of content creators, especially in the cosplay scene, I always say this: bless their heart. They never had to work a desk job. Bless their heart.
Oh
But
wow.
we have a lot of people who I feel like in the gaming space or cosplay or nerd space who made a falling for themselves. Making good money. Good for them. Bless their heart. But are
Absolutely.
so unprofessional because they have never worked a desk job. Like they don't know how to adhere to a schedule. They don't know how to set up a meeting. They don't even know how to do emails.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, wow. Like I had this kid who, and I say kid, she's not young. She's just inexperienced in this form. She's been doing cosplaying for like, I don't know, maybe 5 years professionally.
Got it.
Like that's her main source of income. But I
Mhm.
hire her for events for a company. She does not know what a W-9 is and do not know how to send me an invoice.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
how the heck are you making money this whole time? Like, does Uncle Sam know? Like,
PayPal? Like what the
yeah. So I
what's
think she
going on?
might be getting
Venmo?
PayPal. I don't know. I'm just like, how are you doing your taxes? Like, you're gonna get in trouble one day if you don't know how to do this correctly. Like, Uncle Sam gonna come find you. and they're gonna break
Yeah,
down your door. Yeah.
yeah,
But
that's
when you were at Twitch, so before this, right? I used to work in Silicon Valley, especially some social media company. So I don't tell people I work there when I work there. Did you do that when you're at Twitch at certain points or something? Or like, I mean, in the end, people know, but in the beginning, did you try to hide it because are people bugging you about getting partner or any of that?
um so being a person that was on the community team, like part of the partnerships department, I had to make sure that people understood I was the guy to go to, especially when it came to like Nintendo related stuff. I initially got hired for Smash Brothers. So the job was to identify, recruit, and strengthen alongside maintain the relationships with the
Mm-hmm.
broadcasters on the platform, talk to numerous uh, people in media about Smash Brothers, assist with international scenes, assist with collegiate, and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, the main thing was just making sure to acquire and also retain, right?
Mm-hmm.
The talent that we brought on, and try our best to also celebrate all the cool events that are also happening, because they already had a good idea of like what the big events were when it came to other esports, like T1 the international, right? TI the international.
Mm.
That would of course be on the front page, and same thing with like worlds, right, for League of Legends, et cetera, et cetera. But they didn't know what the big kahunas were for like fighting games or Smash even. So I had to be that guy to let them know, like, hey, this weekend we're having a big major. It would be great if we had like promotion for this event and whatnot, and we'll get the assets and we'll do what we got to do. And boom, all of a sudden people are like, man, that's super cool. Like Twitch is actually acknowledging that Smash is legitimate. And that's like
Mm.
stuff that I did behind the scenes, you know? And there would be times where, let's say there's a new Nintendo game comes out and the box art is not up to date, or they wouldn't have a directory for the game. I would be the guy that would just ping my team and let them know, hey guys, there's a game that's coming out in a day, or the game's out right now and we don't have art for it, or we didn't even have a directory for it, and people will have a tough time with the discovery, so let's help out with that. Oh yeah, thanks D1. You know, a bunch of little things here and there I assisted with behind the scenes to just give feedback wherever I can to make sure communities felt, you know, like they were legitimized on the platform, like they were cared about on the platform.
Mm.
And I definitely did not hide who I was. A lot of people know who I was, and if anything went awry, the common thing would be if you were from fighting games or Smash and you needed help, it'd be like hit up D1. He always helps. So I always had like my DMs were to the top with just fighting game people asking for assistance. They want to know about Twitch. Oh, I got banned, and I was like, I'm not on the moderation team. Can't help you there. You know, like I can like guide them and let them know what they can actually do, but like I can't guarantee a person getting unbanned or banned. That's not my
Mm-hmm.
jurisdiction. So
That's good. That's respectable. I mean, I mean, again, that show how much you have love for that community that you were in, still in, even though after you go to Twitch and even now you're out of Twitch. I'm sure that still carry through.
yeah, I still do whatever I can for the community. There's still people that hit me up about Twitch stuff. They're like, I know you don't work there, but I know you know everything. Could you like at least like guide me, because nobody's hitting like answering me, and I'm like, all right, what is it that you need? And they're like, yeah, could you explain this? And I'm like, all right, this, and this, and the and the third, and boom. Oh, thanks, man. I didn't even know that was there. And I'm like, don't worry. And I'm like, dang it, Twitch, I'm still working for you guys, even though I'm not working.
Right. I feel the same too. There's many things I help with content creators, especially cosplayer and streamers. Now, how to maximize their platform, how to do their Patreon stuff, like just how to make things better for them, and they always just come to me about it, and it feels good. It feels good to help people that can, because a lot of these people that we know are just doing things to better themselves, creating better content, and I want them to be able to do that so they can do more, you know. Yeah. All right. Well, D1, thank you so much for being on the show. Stay on the line, but like before I let you go, where can people find you?
Oh, absolutely, no problem. So where can people find me? I am XD1X literally on all platforms. So that is on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Reddit. We just got a subreddit recently. Instagram. I think the only place where oh yeah, Tumblr as well. Anyway,
Tumblr.
we're gonna move forward. But yeah, lastly, Facebook is d1.smash. I tried to get xd1x there, but apparently somebody has that. So I was like, whatever, I'll just make this my Facebook. It's my like probably my least used platform, but I
It used
know
to be paid.
professional people that use Facebook, right? More than other platforms. So
Like Facebook used to be much more engaging, but they changed it. I mean, it's not the worst thing because they did do it because then you see more friends and family stuff instead of page. So I mean, it is what people ask for. So I guess they didn't listen to people, and it's just a side effect to it. But yeah, so I mean, you also stream. How often do you stream now, and when?
So I broadcast daily. Usually my usual schedule is 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Mondays through Thursdays.
Mm-hmm.
But with COVID happening, I was like, screw it, we're just gonna go balls to the wall. So I've been marathon streaming where literally every single day since like early March, I never took a day off yet. Like I've had times where we'd have long streams, short streams, but never a day where we didn't stream whatsoever. So
Hey, well, you deserve
yeah,
that 1K sub. Congrats again, my brother.
yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. It's been super fun journey, and I just hope to continue to achieve more and to just make more people happy within the community too.
So for everyone that's watching right now, please go also follow D1, and of course, join his stream later tonight as well. You can also, of course, watch this later on Twitch, on YouTube. I'm Modern Wong Photo. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Join our Discord. Sign up for Patreon for bonus content, whatever you like. Stay safe. Wash your hands, and I'll see you all next time, guys. So bye.